Discover the amazing transformation of a lonely receptionist in just 30 days. A heartwarming love story awaits. Amanda sat at her desk, the phone ringing incessantly, but all she could hear was the pounding of her heart. Each time she forced her smile on the next pet owner, her chest tightened with the weight of her hidden loneliness. Life had become a routine blur of bills and responsibilities, and her cramped apartment felt more like a prison every day. Her father, once a strong man who sacrificed everything for her dreams, now needed her care. Living with the echoes of his expectations and her own self-doubt, Amanda felt like she was drowning in a world of inadequacy. But it was on a cloudy Tuesday that everything began to change. The door swung open to reveal Jake, a young veteran with deep-set eyes that spoke of battles fought both abroad and at home. He had a rescue dog named Max by his side, and the way he knelt to comfort the trembling pup brought an unexpected warmth to the dreary clinic. "He has been acting strange," Jake said, his voice tinged with genuine care that struck a chord within Amanda. There was something different about him, something that ignited small sparks of hope buried deep in her heart. As their conversations blossomed over days and weeks, Amanda found solace in Jake's honesty. He shared stories of the struggles he faced after returning from service, and Amanda felt a kinship she hadn't experienced in years. Their connection evolved, filling a void in her life that loneliness had carved. She began to dream of a future beyond a reception desk, one filled with animal care and community service, fueled by her father's unwavering belief in hard work. But those dreams clashed harshly with her reality, and echoes of doubt still haunted her. Just as Amanda began to gain a glimpse of confidence, a misunderstanding with her father erupted into chaos. "You think you are better than this family?" he yelled, his words cutting through her. "I've sacrificed everything for you." The guilt weighed on her like lead, suffocating her dreams and tearing at the fabric of their relationship. Torn between loyalty to her family and her own aspirations, Amanda's heart felt shattered like fragile glass that might never be whole again. In her despair, she sought refuge in volunteering at the community center. There, she found purpose, helping underprivileged children, and witnessing the power of her kindness sparked joy in her heart. Each smile she earned became a salve for her wounds. "You're changing lives," a fellow volunteer said one night, and with that her spirit began to flicker with renewed hope. Then came the night that would change everything. Amidst her service, a frantic girl rushed in with a badly injured pet, desperation etched on her face. All eyes turned to Amanda. She felt the weight of the world on her shoulders in that moment. With a heart racing from fear and hope, she realized her next choice could define not just the girl's future, but her own. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With resolve, Amanda stood her ground in that moment, her heart and dreams clashing with the shadows of her past. Could she bridge the gap with her father, respect herself, and finally fulfill the dreams that flickered in the dark? The tension thickened, and the echoes of her struggles lingered in the air, leaving her poised at the edge of transformation, ready to confront both her father and her fears. The journey ahead held promise, but would she dare to step into the light and seize it? Amanda took a deep breath, feeling the rush of adrenaline flood her senses. The girl clutched her pet tightly, eyes wide with terror and hope, a mirror of all Amanda had felt when she first entered the clinic. "I can help," Amanda said firmly, though her voice quivered just enough for her to catch it. The words sparked a flicker of bravery she thought had long disappeared, fighting hard to break free from the chains of uncertainty that had held her back for too long. As she approached, the room shifted. The nurses moved aside, their anxious whispers blending into an urgent hum that filled her ears. The tiny dog lay limp in the girl's arms, and Amanda squeezed her eyes shut for a heartbeat, envisioning the life that pulsed within the fragile body. She had seen this moment of vulnerability before, but never had it felt so personal, like a test of her strength, her will, and ultimately, her purpose. She snapped into action. "Give me a blanket," she instructed a nearby technician, her voice growing steadier with each passing second. At the same time, she gently assessed the dog's wounds, noting the blood-soaked fur and shallow breathing. In that instant, she was a patient hand in chaos, the calm among the storms swirling in her heart and mind. As the blanket was retrieved, Jake appeared at her side, his presence grounding her. "What do you need?" he asked, eyes intent. There's that spark again. His unwavering confidence shone like a beacon in the dark, and it reminded Amanda of every moment they shared. She recalled their conversations, how his stories sparked something within her that yearned for more than her current existence. In the midst of the chaos, she felt seen, for the first time in years. In that moment, with Jake's encouragement and the frantic energy of the girl's fear, Amanda saw a glimpse of the person she wanted to be: brave, caring, and unafraid to challenge the shadows that had plagued her. Guiding the girl and her battered pup, Amanda coordinated the next steps while ignoring the intrusive reminders of her strained family situation and self-doubt. "We're going to get him through this," she reassured not just the girl, but herself too. "Soothe, heal, love," those words rang through her like a mantra, and they brought a steady rhythm to the frenetic energy around her. Minutes felt like hours as they worked together, tension collapsing into teamwork. The girl's shaky hands steadied under Amanda's guidance. With each wrap of the bandage and every calming word shared, Amanda's heart began to heal, mending the fractures caused by guilt and despair. Soon, the chaos began to settle. The dog was stabilized, resting now between Amanda's care and the love radiating from the girl. Relief washed over the room. It felt tangible, filling the air with hope. She glanced up at Jake, and there it was again, that unspoken connection that made her feel like she wasn't alone anymore. Yet, even amidst the triumph, a knot of dread twisted in her gut. Would this moment change anything at home? Would her dad understand her need to follow this newfound path or clench the reins tighter? The tension now felt like a balancing act, the old and the new dancing precariously on a wire. As they stepped back for a moment to take in what they had accomplished, Amanda's thoughts turned inward. This was just a start, she whispered as she considered the journey ahead, staring into the horizon of her future. Maybe she could bridge the gap with her father and embrace her aspirations, but it wouldn't be easy. The girl's grateful smile pulled her from her thoughts, and the weight of doubt shifted slightly. Amanda met Jake's eyes, and a silent agreement passed between them, an understanding that the healing they started that night wasn't just about the injured dog, but about finding strength within themselves. Whatever came next, Amanda knew that she had already stepped into the light. But when the phone rang again, breaking the lovely moment, Amanda's heart sank. What awaited on the other end? With uncertainty creeping in once more, she took a breath, ready to face whatever challenge lay ahead. Unbeknownst to her, this was just the beginning of a new phase in life. Could she hold on to this feeling of purpose, or would her past drag her back down? The answer loomed just beyond the horizon, waiting to unfold. Amanda's fingers trembled as she reached for the phone, her heart racing. What if it was her dad? What would he say after seeing her step outside her comfort zone? She reluctantly held the device to her ear, the world around her fading into a blur. "Hello," she managed, fighting the tightness in her throat. "Amanda?" It was her father. His voice was thick with frustration, the kind that always sent an icy shiver down her spine. "You need to come home right away. I found something we need to discuss." Panic gripped her. This wasn't how tonight was supposed to go. She had just felt a spark of purpose, a glimpse of who she wanted to be, and now it was all threatened by the weight of family expectation. "Dad, I'm now Amanda." His tone left no room for negotiation. She swallowed hard. "I'm in a clinic. I can't leave yet. I'm helping someone." "Helping?" He scoffed. "You work the front desk. It's not your job." to play hero. Get home. The line went silent after his command, and she dared not speak again. Anger bubbled inside her, mingling with the sadness that had been her constant companion. She glanced at Jake, who had been listening intently. His brows were knitted together in concern, and Amanda could sense that he understood her dilemma. "Someone needs you, Amanda," he said quietly. "You can't just run away from this." The weight of his words sank deep into her. Yes, someone did need her. Like that girl with the dog, she had been lost in a moment of helplessness until Amanda stepped in. Would she throw away that feeling of making a difference just to appease her father? "I have to think about it, okay?" she whispered, her voice trembling. Jake stepped closer, his presence a calming anchor in the storm. "No one gets to decide your worth, but you. This is a chance to shine." He was right. As much as she feared disappointing her father, the pull of her dreams was stronger. Maybe tonight was just the first of many moments where she could stand up for herself, where she could fight for who she wanted to be. With determination surging through her, she took a breath, deciding she wouldn't let fear dictate her life anymore. "I'm sorry, Dad, but I need to stay." She hung up before he could respond, popping the bubble of tension that had coiled around her heart. The clinic felt different now. The air was electric, charged with possibility. The little girl sat in the waiting area, her puppy nestled securely in her arms, gazing up at Amanda with eyes full of hope. For the first time, Amanda truly felt like she belonged somewhere. "You did great," Jake said, watching the scene unfold. The girl's smile broke through Amanda's anxiety like the sun after a storm. "Thank you. You saved him." "No, we saved him." She smiled meaningfully at Jake, who nodded with pride. This was a team effort. She wasn't alone anymore. But just as joy bloomed, the clinic doors swung wide open, and a new rush of voices filled the space. Amanda turned, only to find an injured cat being carried in on a stretcher. The chaos erupted once more, sweeping her back into a whirlwind of emotions. As she rushed to help, a thought struck her. Would she truly be able to handle everything that was coming her way? Her heart raced at the uncertainty, but this time it wasn't fear. It was excitement. New challenges awaited, and Amanda felt ready, but somewhere in the backdrop loomed the darker shadows of her father's expectations. Could she prove she could carve her own path, or would it all come crumbling down? The answer danced on the edge of her dreams, waiting to ignite. The night air hummed as Amanda dropped the phone onto the front desk, adrenaline still coursing through her veins. The clinic was a whirlwind of barking, meowing, and the rustling of anxious hands. The injured cat, a slender tabby with deep green eyes, was carried in by a panicked woman. Amanda's heart ached at the sight this little creature was someone's beloved pet. "Over here. We've got a table ready," Jake called out, his voice filled with authority as he led the way. Amanda followed closely, focusing on the task ahead. She quickly grabbed some bandages, aware that this was not just a job. It was her chance to step into a role that felt meaningful. "Is she going to be okay?" the woman asked frantically, tears shimmering in her eyes as she cradled the cat. Amanda caught the trembling of her hands, and it echoed the turmoil brewing inside her. "We'll do our best," Amanda replied, her voice steady. It felt good to be the one offering comfort, even if it was to a complete stranger. She reached out, placing a reassuring hand on the woman's shoulder. "You're not alone in this." As the veterinary team assessed the tabby's injuries, Amanda stayed close, observing the process with wide eyes. Each gentle touch and methodical movement was part skill, part compassion. She could see how much these professionals cared, and it filled her with a longing to be part of that world where her actions could create positive change. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, but the flurry of activity kept her grounded. Amid the chaos, she became acutely aware of a sudden silence in the room. All eyes turned to the cat as a gentle snore emerged from its lips, a sign the medicine was kicking in. A wave of relief washed over the woman, who thanked the staff profusely, her gratitude palpable. In that moment, a thought struck Amanda. This isn't just about her dad's expectations anymore. It was about finding her own voice, her own place in the world. She stood there, wrapped in energy, feeling a strength rise within her that had been dormant for far too long. "See?" Jake whispered to her, a smile breaking across his face. "You were amazing. You're good at this." The warmth of his words prompted a blush to creep onto her cheeks, but it was invigorating. She caught herself starting to believe him. It was as if the walls she had built up around herself were starting to crumble, brick by brick. Just as she began to embrace the swell of hope, the clinic doors burst open again. This time, it was a group of kids, faces pale and wide-eyed, dragging in another animal, a little dog that had been hit by a car. Time ticked slowly as the new chaos erupted. The air buzzed with panic. The sounds of children crying and urgent voices filled the room, and Amanda felt her heart sink. "Stay with me," Jake said in a firm but gentle tone, placing a reassuring hand on her back. "We've got this." But Amanda's mind raced in a different direction. Could she really handle this? The weight of the moment pressed down on her. This was the reality of her choice, encountering crisis after crisis, pushing past the limits of her comfort. With a determined breath, Amanda squared her shoulders, reminding herself why she had decided to stay. The sight of the frightened dog stirred something deep within her. "Let us help him," she said, pushing aside the doubts. She could do this. But just then, as they hurried to assist, Amanda caught a glimpse of the waiting area. The little girl with the puppy was still there, her big eyes watching in concern as chaos unfolded around her. Amanda's heart simply wouldn't let her forget the trust that had been placed in her hands. As they hustled past the panicking children toward the new patient, she felt a surge of clarity. "I won't back down," she whispered to herself, pushing forward with renewed vigor. While she felt on the cusp of a breakthrough, the shadows of her father's disapproval lingered, becoming less of a weight and more of a challenge. A distant murmur that couldn't silence her budding resolve. A fight was brewing, not just against the challenges in front of her, but for her own identity and dreams. Could she continue to follow this newfound path, or would the doubts creep back in when she least expected them? The night was only beginning, and so was Amanda's transformation. The sharp bark of the little dog jolted everyone back into action. Amanda rushed alongside Jake, the urgency of the situation igniting her instincts. The dog's body was limp in the child's arms, its dark fur matted with dirt and blood. The girl, still clutching her furry friend tightly, looked at Amanda with a stare that pierced right through the chaos. It was a plea for help, a desperate cry, without words. "Let us get him onto the table," Jake directed, his eyes assessing the scene. Amanda's heart raced as she followed his lead, every movement feeling crucial at that moment. With careful precision, they laid the small dog down. His little chest rose and fell unevenly, each breath a struggle. Amanda's stomach twisted at the sight. She began to assist in carrying out commands, her hands working diligently, tearing off the bandages, cleaning the wounds, and making sure everything was ready for the vet. Every action mattered, and she felt alive, pulsing with the energy of necessity. "Can you check if they're SA collar?" Jake asked, not glancing away from the task at hand. The question seemed obvious now, but it hadn't crossed Amanda's mind in the frenzy. She turned to look for any identification, but the girl shook her head, tears spilling down her cheeks. "His name is Buddy," the child cried, her voice cracked. "He is my best friend. Please save him." Amanda felt her throat tighten. This was more than just a pet. This was the little girl's entire world. "We're going to help him, I promise," she said, though the words felt like a fragile shield against the uncertainty looming over them. The minutes felt like an eternity, and in the fray, Amanda focused on the tasks, trying to block out the worry that knotted in her stomach. She was no longer just a spectator. She was integral to this moment. Just as the vet arrived and began to take control, Amanda's phone buzzed on the desk, breaking through her concentration. It was a text from her father, filled with condescension about the choices she was making. A familiar weight settled on her shoulders, but she brushed it aside. In that instant, She chose to focus on the urgency of the scene before her instead of the disapproval from home. "Keep him steady," Jake instructed, and Amanda steadied Buddy's head, looking into the dark, trusting eyes the way the little girl had. They were pleading, just like the child S, for reassurance, for hope. As the vet worked with practiced hands, Amanda's thoughts drifted. Her father might never understand why she felt this calling, why every moment like this was a little ember of hope building up inside her. She had felt so lost for so long, but now Buddy's small form was surrounded by the team, and Amanda noticed how her heart began to sync with the rhythm of healing. This was where she belonged, in this place of vulnerability and compassion. Suddenly, she felt a soft hand on her shoulder. It was Jake. His eyes were steady, filled with support. "You're doing great," he said, and an unexpected warmth spread through her. "It's okay to feel all of this. It means you care." In that moment, she realized she wasn't just holding on. She was embracing the path unfolding before her. The burdens screamed from the past, but this future sparkled with potential. His heart slowing, the vet said sharply, pulling Amanda back to the scene. Panic flared, but then the tiniest flicker of relief, Buddy blinked. The moment hung heavy in the air, filled with unspoken prayers. The little girl looked on, her eyes wide with fear and hope intertwined. Could they save him? Amanda pushed the clasp of doubt further away. There was no choice but to believe in this moment. The buzz of the clinic melted into a singular, focused the warmth of hope pushing through the icy grip of despair. As the team continued to work, she felt more alive than ever. Who cared what her father thought? Every heartbeat in this room mattered, and as she felt the unyielding grip of purpose, Amanda knew she was ready to redefine everything. And then, the vet paused, looking up, eyes wide. "We need to act fast." And just like that, Amanda understood her journey was about to take a deeper plunge. How far was she willing to go to save not just Buddy, but also herself? The vet's words sliced through the tension like a knife. "We need to act fast." There was a sense of urgency in the air, heavy and unyielding. Amanda's heart raced, pumping adrenaline into her veins. The room pulsed with energy, each person moving swiftly, purposefully, but Amanda felt a flicker of doubt. Was it enough? "Okay, let us do this," Jake said, his voice a steady anchor amidst the chaos. He turned to the girl, who stood frozen, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Can you hold Buddy's head for me?" Her small hands trembled as she nodded, her love for her dog shining through her fear. It was a reminder of why they were all here. This wasn't just a procedure. It was a battle for Buddy's life. The vet worked quickly, casting her eyes between her tools and the small dog's fragile body. Amanda stood at the ready, her hands poised to help in any way possible. The little girl's soft whimpers filled the room, and Amanda's heart broke for the child. She wished to take away her pain, to erase this fear shimmering in the air. In that moment, she realized the stakes fell higher than just saving a dog. This was about healing, connection, and love. "Breathe, just breathe," Amanda murmured, more to herself than anyone else. But her words seemed to echo as she locked eyes with the girl. There was something profoundly shared in that moment. A silent understanding wrapped around them, gluing their fears together. The vet called for an 4, and Amanda scrambled to find it. They moved in tandem, the frantic urgency turning into a focused rhythm. Each second felt stretched and elastic, a tightrope walk between hope and despair. Amanda's movements became instinctual, her hands moving deftly as each heartbeat ticked by. It was exhilarating. She felt alive, like this was what she was truly meant to do. "Is he going to be okay?" The little girl finally whispered through her sobs. Amanda's chest tightened. How could she assure her? Instead, she placed her hand on the child's shoulder, grounding them both. "We're doing everything we can," she said, keeping her voice steady, even as uncertainty fluttered in the pit of her stomach. "Buddy is a fighter, and so are you. Just keep believing." The vet worked furiously, her brow furrowed in concentration as she navigated through Buddy S. wounds. Amanda S. thoughts drizzled between memories of her father's harsh words and the warmth of the little girl's trust. But could she trust herself? The clock ticked, and the weight of the world pressed down harder. It felt as if all the battles she'd faced in her own life were culminating right here, right now, through this innocent creature. A sudden swell of nausea threatened to overwhelm her, reminding her of all the times when doubt had choked her spirit. Then, something shifted. Buddy let out a soft whimper, the sound almost a whisper of hope. For a fleeting moment, it was as if the world stopped. The focus narrowed, pulling Amanda in. Her breath hitched with a blend of fear and relief. Was this the turning point? The vet looked up suddenly. "We're stabilizing him," she announced, and with that, a sliver of hope flickered among everyone in the room. "But we need to transfer him to the hospital for surgery." "Let us do it," Jake responded, and Amanda felt her heart leap at his enthusiasm. The little girl squeezed Buddy, her face determined. "We want to give up," she said fiercely. She lifted her chin, ready to face whatever came next. Amanda let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. In that moment, something inside her shifted too. The past was still there, but it felt lighter, less defining. Maybe she could be part of this healing, not just for Buddy, but also for herself. As the team moved quickly to prepare Buddy for transport, Amanda caught a glimpse of Jake's encouraging smile. There was strength in unity, a purpose emerging from chaos. It tugged at her, inviting her deeper into this world of compassion. And as they rolled Buddy out, Amanda realized something profound. This wasn't merely about saving a dog. It was about discovering her purpose, about letting go of fear. But the journey wasn't over. The question lingered in her mind, would she be brave enough to follow through the darkness, or would doubt pull her back? The weight of uncertainty hung in the air as they stepped into the unknown. The flashing lights of the ambulance illuminated the dim parking lot as the team rushed toward it, the hum of the engine sounding like an anxious heartbeat. Amanda's pulse quickened, her thoughts spinning. They were out of the clinic, but the fight for Buddy was far from over. Jake was by her side, his arm brushing against hers as they ran, a silent promise in their movements. Amanda's gaze darted back to the little girl, clutching Buddy in her arms, her face now a mixture of fear and fierce determination. "Don't worry, Buddy," the girl whispered, her voice steady despite everything. Amanda felt a wave of affection wash over her for both of them. The strength in that fragile little voice was a stark contrast to the deep pit of dread in her gut. They reached the ambulance, and Amanda's role shifted seamlessly. Working alongside the paramedics, she helped secure Buddy on the stretcher, carefully watching every move, every procedure. The vet instructed them, her sharp commands cutting through the noise as they transitioned from the clinic to the ambulance. It was an organized chaos, a finely tuned ballet of urgency and care. The little girl climbed inside the ambulance, her eyes wide but resolute. "I'll stay with him," she stated, a glimmer of bravery lighting her up. Amanda admired her bravery, knowing that in many ways they were all in this together. As they sped toward the hospital, the world outside blurred into a haze of colors and sounds. The sirens wailed, echoing their struggles and fears, and Amanda's mind raced alongside the vehicle. She and T just found purpose in helping Buddy. She was becoming a part of a greater journey. In the back of the ambulance, a tense silence settled over them, broken only by the rhythmic beeping of the machines monitoring Buddy's condition. Amanda glanced over at the little girl, whose focus remained steadfast on her beloved pet. It sparked something inside Amanda, a belief that maybe she could also find the strength to face her past. "Can I hold his paw?" the girl asked, her voice trembling just slightly. With a gentle nod, Amanda guided her hand toward Buddy, placing the small, fragile paw on the girl's palm. The sheer tenderness in that moment resonated deeply. "Good job, sweetheart," Amanda encouraged, feeling the warmth of that bond radiate through the air. They reached the hospital, and suddenly chaos enveloped them again. Medical staff rushed in, taking control of Buddy's stretcher, wheels squeaking as they maneuvered him away. The little girl stood up, tears pooling in her eyes. "Is he going to be okay?" she called after them, her voice cracking like fragile glass. Amanda's heart twisted at the sight. "They're going to take excellent care of him," she reassured the girl, kneeling to look her in the eyes. "Just hold on to your hope, okay?" As they wheeled Buddy away, the girl nodded, though Amanda could see the flicker of uncertainty lurking beneath the surface. It was as if both of them were perched on the edge of something monumental. Amanda felt that uncertainty too, that deep-rooted doubt creeping back in. Inside, Amanda tried to calm herself, focusing on the young girl's bravery. She realized the real battle wasn't just about Buddy. It was about taking a leap of faith, trusting that healing was possible, not just for the dog, but for them both. Jake stepped closer, watching the little girl and then Amanda. "You're incredible, you know that?" His voice was soft, sincere. But what could she say? She didn't feel incredible. She felt like she was standing in the shadow of so many fears. "I just want to help," she confessed. "Sometimes that's all it takes," he replied, his gaze steady. "Believe in yourself." Those simple words echoed in Amanda's mind, sparking a tiny flicker of hope. She knew this wouldn't be easy. She could feel the weight of stories untold, layers of pain ready to peel away if she had the courage. As they waited, the silence around them thickened, stretching like a long-lost embrace. What if this was just the beginning? There was so much unknown ahead, and yet, as uncertainty loomed, she felt a familiar tug toward healing. But would she have the strength to face her own fears and join the fight for Buddy's life? That profound question danced in the air, unwritten and yet so palpably felt as each minute crept along. The door to the operating room closed, leaving them to hover at the edge of hope, waiting for the truth to be revealed. The waiting room buzzed with an anxious energy. Amanda glanced around, taking in the faces of families, each lost in their own fears and stories. It was a strange mix of anticipation and sorrow, the air heavy with unspoken worries. She found herself wishing that the walls could speak, sharing tales of hope and resilience. Instead, they stood still, a silent witness to the battles being waged. "Can I get you something to drink?" Jake's voice broke through her thoughts. He was fidgeting slightly, a stark contrast to the composed manner he'd shown earlier. "Water would be great," she replied, her own nerves simmering beneath the surface. As he headed toward the vending machine, Amanda turned her attention back to the little girl. She was clutching her knees tightly, her small frame trembling slightly. Amanda could see her lips moving, whispering what Amanda imagined were prayers or affirmations. It was deeply moving. In that moment, Amanda realized that they were all connected by this one thread: love for Buddy. "Hey," Amanda approached the girl cautiously, kneeling beside her. "You're really brave. I admire how strong you are." The girl looked up, her eyes glistening with tears. "I'm scared," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. What if he doesn't come back?" Amanda's heart ached. "I understand. I'm scared too. But remember, everyone is here to help him. The doctors know what to do. I just want him to be okay," the girl murmured, her fingers nervously twisting her bracelet. Amanda could feel her own vulnerability reflected in that child's face. "Me too. Buddy's a fighter, just like you." Seconds turned into minutes as they sat together, the bond between them growing stronger. Amanda thought of how this small moment, filled with shared fears and hopes, brought comfort in their uncertainty. Jake returned, 2 bottled waters in hand. "Here you go," he said, offering one to Amanda, then crouching down to the girl's level. "You're being so brave. You know that?" "Yeah," the girl replied, managing a small smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. The waiting room clock ticked loudly, each second inflected with the heaviness of worry. Anxiety pooled in the pit of Amanda's stomach. She kept recalling Jake's words that belief in oneself mattered. As Amanda sipped her water, She resolved to embrace those words more than ever. Suddenly, the double doors swung open, and a doctor stepped through, her expression serious yet carrying an air of cautious optimism. Amanda's heart raced. The anticipation was electric, spreading through the room like a spark, grabbing everyone's attention. "Are you here for Buddy?" the doctor called out, scanning the room. "Yes," Amanda answered, standing up quickly, pulling the little girl with her. Jake followed closely, positioning himself protectively by their side. The doctor took a breath, her eyes softening as she looked at the girl. "I have some news." It felt like the world froze for an eternity, the kind of silence that held weight, like clouds on the verge of bursting. Everyone leaned in. "He's stable now," the doctor said finally, and a collective exhale seemed to ripple through the room. The weight of that declaration was a turning point. Hope was ignited, sprawling through the tight spaces of uncertainty. But the doctor continued, each word picking through the essence of every heart present. "He's going to need further care, and we will keep monitoring him closely." Amanda squeezed the girl's hand tightly, glancing down as the tiny face filled with relief and gratitude. "Can I see him?" the little girl asked, her voice stronger now. The doctor nodded. "In a little while. We'll bring you back as soon as we can. But for now, hang on to that hope. It's powerful." The sweet taste of hope lingered in the air, yet Amanda felt a new weight settle in her chest. Deep inside, she sensed that the fight was just beginning, both for Buddy and for herself. The uncertainty of healing loomed, but together they could weather the storm. Would she dare to pull strength from this moment as they ventured further into the unknown? Would the little girl's courage inspire Amanda to confront her own shadows? As the room buzzed with cautious hope, Amanda braced herself for the journey ahead. The real challenge awaited just beyond the door, and they were ready to face it together. But would their combined strength be enough? The doctor moved away, her purposeful stride taking her back through the double doors, leaving a slice of anticipation in her wake. Amanda subtly pulled the little girl closer, feeling the warmth radiating from that fragile hand. The room still buzzed, but the chaos around them felt distant. They existed in their own world, wrapped in hope and uncertainty, waiting. "Do you want to draw something for Buddy?" Amanda suggested, searching for a way to keep the girl's mind engaged. The girl nodded slowly, her eyes brightening at the idea. Amanda spotted a stack of colorful crayons on a nearby table and gestured for Jake to help her retrieve them. As Jake retrieved the crayons, Amanda felt a rush of gratitude. It was comforting to have him by her side, his presence a reminder that she didn't have to carry this burden alone. "Here we go," Jake said, placing the crayons in the girl's lap. "What do you want to draw first?" The little girl examined the colors before picking up a bright yellow crayon. "A sun. Buddy loves the sun," she said, her enthusiasm blooming. "Perfect," Amanda replied, feeling a warmth spreading through her own chest. The girl began swirling her crayon over the paper, her face intent. Amanda watched, noting the way her small hand moved confidently despite the backdrop of worry as the girl focused on her drawing. Amanda stole a glance around the room. Conversations murmured in a tapestry of voices, each family still grappling with their own fears. Amanda felt an urge to reach out, share a smile or a word, to connect with others just like her, all waiting and hoping. But her thoughts were disrupted by the steady ticking of the clock. Time felt distorted in this space. Each tick echoed the question gnawing at her. What if all their hopes were misplaced? "Are you scared?" Jake asked suddenly, pulling her from her contemplation. Startled, she met his gaze. "What do you mean?" "Scared about Buddy," he clarified. "About what comes next?" Amanda sighed, letting her guards momentarily drop. "Yeah, a little. He has been through so much already. What if this next step is too much?" Jake nodded thoughtfully, and for a moment, they sat in silence, sharing the weight of unspoken fears. Eventually, he said, "You know, it's okay to be scared. We're all in this together, remember?" His words comforted her. "You're right." Together, Amanda echoed, the affirmation sinking deep. Just then, a loud voice disruptively sliced through the waiting room's calm. "Excuse me. Excuse me." A woman stood at the entrance, her face flushed with determination. "Can anyone here send some support to the third floor? There's a little girl named Sophie, and she has been feeling lonely since her brother was admitted. I think some company would really help." Amanda's heart swelled. The little girl, drawing beside her, had become a part of something larger than herself. Voices intertwined, and she sensed a call to action brewing. "I think we should go," she said quickly, feeling exhilaration rise within her. She turned to the girl, who was finishing her masterpiece. "What do you think?" Looking up, her brown eyes brightened, and she nodded eagerly. "Let us do it." Amanda stood up, the spark of purpose igniting in her chest. Helping someone else could be the balm they all needed. Without hesitation, she grabbed Jake's hand, their movements synchronizing as they made their way toward the exit, trying to keep the little girl's pace buoyant. As they approached the main door, Amanda turned back and locked eyes with the child's artistic creation. Buddy would feel the warmth from that sun, they'd make sure of it. The moment felt raw and alive, each step propelled by hope and intention. Would their presence bring comfort to Sophie? Would this chain of connection heal deeper wounds than they dared to imagine? The air felt charged as they stepped outside the waiting room, ready to face whatever came next. But with darkness trailing behind, the question lingered. Could they truly lighten the burden of another heart amid their own shadows? Sophie's small room was bathed in soft afternoon light as Amanda, Jake, and the little girl entered together. The scent of antiseptic mixed with something sweet like candy from the vending machines nearby. Sophie, a slight girl with blonde curls and eyes wide with concern, was lying on her bed, staring blankly at the wall. As they arrived, she turned her gaze toward them, and Amanda felt a surge of connection that pulled at her heart. "Hi, can we come in?" Amanda asked gently. Sophie nodded, her surprise melting into shy curiosity as her gaze landed on the little girl, who approached with a smile. "Do you like drawing?" the little girl asked, holding her crayon masterpiece. "I made this for my dog, Buddy." Sophie's eyes brightened, intrigued by the enthusiastic energy blooming in front of her. "Can I see?" "Sure." The little girl beamed, her cheeks rosy with excitement as she showcased the artwork. "He's going to be okay. He's a fighter just like you." Tears glimmered in Sophie's eyes. "My brother is not okay," she managed softly, words that hung in the air like a poignant weight. Amanda's heart ached. "I'm so sorry. Sometimes special pets can help us feel better when we're sad," she said, seeking to connect the young girls and their shared worries. Sophie nodded, her small hands fiddling nervously with the sheets. "I miss him." Jake, who had been quietly observing, stepped in with compassionate insight. "Let us do something special together as friends. How about we create a little art corner here to cheer you up?" Sophie's expression brightened, and Amanda could see a spark of hope flickering in those big brown eyes. They pulled a small table toward the bed, guiding the little girl to sit next to Sophie. Crayons were distributed, laughter ringing in the cramped room as they all began to draw. Minutes passed, and slowly, the chill of uncertainty started to fade. Amanda found joy in seeing Sophie loosen up, lost in her creation. She witnessed the transformation take shape, highlighting the power of connection, the feeling that even in their struggles, they could uplift one another. As Amanda joined in the drawing, she thought about Buddy, about the little girl holding tight to her hope. It struck her that love flowed in many forms between family, friends, and even pets. "You know," Amanda said slowly, "my dad used to say I could do anything I set my mind to, and I think he was right. I believe we all can." The little girl looked up, her eyes shining with innocent wonder. "Even when it's hard, especially when it's hard," Amanda affirmed, a smile creeping on her lips. Sophie's laughter filled the room as they all drew together, her joy echoing amid the laughter, a melody that seemed to chase away shadows. "Will you come back?" she asked softly, her eyes hopeful. "Absolutely. We could draw a big sunny picture for Buddy together next time," Amanda promised, the warmth wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. Later, as they left the hospital, Amanda felt lighter, as if the burdens she had carried were lifted each time they connected. She and Jake walked side by side, reflecting on what they'd just done. "You made a real difference, Jake said, glancing at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you for being here," Amanda replied, the relief washing over her once more. "I couldn't have done this alone." "Neither could I," he admitted, a soft smile breaking across his face. As they reached the exit, Amanda took a deep breath, breathing in a world that felt more vibrant than it had in a long time. The shadows of her father's expectations still lingered, but she knew now she had a choice. She could navigate them with courage. Every moment of connection rippled through her, empowering her to rewrite her own narrative. With the last rays of sunlight streaming down, Amanda turned to Jake. "You ready to help some more people?" He grinned, always. Their laughter echoed across the parking lot, and for the first time, Amanda felt ready to face everything her future held. The journey was far from over, but she had discovered something so profound along the way. That love, kindness, and community were fierce forces guiding lights to hold on to as she crafted her path ahead. And as Amanda stepped into that brilliant sunset, she took a moment to embrace her breath, her story, her voice, all reflected in the shimmering horizon of new beginnings. This is your moment. If you loved this transformation, you need to subscribe now to our channel. Hit that bell so you won't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Every click counts. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this journey. I can't wait to read how you feel. And don't wait, not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Join our growing community, and let's continue to uplift one another together.